Let's talk a little bit about the parallel economy in terms of what you think is going to happen next, because it feels like there's some effort to have a place where you can invest your funds on a conservative level. You're starting a sort of a town square where people can buy goods. What do you think the future, project out 5 or 10 years, what are we looking at?
I think in the short term, there's some of the culture war behaviors that are influencing the growth of the parallel economy.
Yeah.
Bud Light comes out and does something and we have alternatives. Target does something and we have alternatives. YouTube censors people and Rumble tries to lift them up.
Yeah.
We see this happen, this dichotomy of interests played out on the national stage,
right,
that I think will continue to lead to these lightning strikes of growth for the parallel economy. I think over the long term, though, what we're going to start to see happen is that it's going to become more of an ingrained, regular part of our life, and it's going to become more self-sustaining and not so reliant on these lightning strike culture moments. It'll just become a more regular fabric of a free market. Amazon will do what it does,
right,
and we'll exist as a fruitful competitor.
Yeah.
And consumers will make a decision, not just based upon a cultural moment, but based upon a track record of consistent quality and a consistent valuing of the consumer. So I think over the long term, the parallel economy will become less of a controversial flash in the pan sort of moment and more of an ingrained root in our economy.
Well, I can tell you, talking to tens of millions of people every day via our content at Breitbart, people are so fed up with the corporations. It's a constant pressure to provide them alternatives, and very few people are making that effort. Help me understand some of the various boycott efforts, because the Bud Light boycott worked very well. It seems like efforts to boycott Disney have lowered their share values, but they're still a leviathan. And then some other ones have not done well. Some other boycotts, I don't need to go into those specifically, but some of them totally flopped. Are you analyzing this stuff, and what are you seeing as the keys to a boycott being successful? And I had a feeling you're going to say when there's a natural alternative.
I think you're exactly right. A company like Disney, in many ways for many Americans, is harder to boycott than a company like Bud Light. So if you boycott Bud Light, just go to your local restaurant. There's lots of other draft breweries from your local community.
The same price and better. Right.
Same price or better, and they taste better. So it's like,
they taste better.
That was the easiest I'm so glad it happened. It was the easiest boycott. We needed that W, right?
Yes.
Ben and Jerry's, similar deal. When they come out and they lament the fact that the United States is on stolen land, there are alternatives, and we're proud to support those alternatives. Disney's a little interesting because it is a conglomerate behemoth that has a lot of different tentacles. Now, boycotts against them have still been successful.
Yeah, they have.
But we have to have the long game in mind. And so I think that going back to my previous comments, I think you can bridge my answers together here by actually saying it's a long-term thing that has to happen, where folks almost see it as less of a boycott and more of I'm just switching my consumer habits.
That's right.
I'm not satisfied with a brand any longer. So if you try a pair of shoes on and they don't fit you well, you go and you get a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
We don't constitute that as a boycott, but that's what you did.
Yeah.
You stopped spending money with a company because they no longer met your consumer needs and you moved your habits. The same natural element to switching your consumer decisions, that's how we need to start thinking about boycotts. Company X did a thing that offended you and your family's belief system. Your reason for leaving that company is just as legitimate as if you just didn't like their products and they didn't fit you well. If anything, it's more legitimate because it involves your value system. So unsubscribe from that corrupt company, subscribe to a new set of alternatives. I think our ability to sustain that consumer journey over the long haul is going to be based upon our ability to build quality alternatives.
That's right.
Our movement will be killed if the alternatives we build are the Patriot version, but it doesn't have quality.
Yes.
I think nothing will kill our momentum faster than saying, hey, you should come spend money with us, but the product quality is worse.
That's right.
We're not going to be able to truly shift things for the long haul.
That is the key, and not to use myself as an example, but that's all I can go off of. Things like Nike, I've always hated Nike as a brand, but they fit my feet. And so it was really hard to get off of it, and finally I found a company that fit my feet just as well, and then it was very easy. I'll never buy another pair of Nike. It's not a problem, but I had to find where do I go, and I had to. Sometimes it takes too much effort, and that's what you're here to do. You're here to show them, here are your options. We got them all in one place.
That's exactly right. And our goal is that you wouldn't have to feel like you're changing everything overnight.
Yes.
I think that's something big too. I hear from a lot of folks that say, I'm still got an iPhone and I'm still driving a car made by somebody that doesn't like me, and I'm still banking with somebody. Our encouragement to folks is start somewhere.
Yes,
start
agreed.
with shoes. Start with a cup of coffee. Did you know Starbucks funds abortion? Okay, now you know. If you don't like that, here's a lot of other coffee companies you can shop from. Did you know that your bank has a track record of canceling conservatives if you disagree with their political views of the bank? Now you know. Here's Axos Bank. Here's Farmers and Merchants. Here's Old Glory. Here's Carrollton. So I think it's important that consumers recognize you don't have to do everything overnight. You can start somewhere. Just like it took decades for the authoritarian progressives to decimate our economy and turn it into this woke, weird, ESG-filled cesspool, it will take decades to come out of it. This is not an overnight thing. And I think Americans, especially conservatives, have to recognize that all of our efforts, whether political, whether cultural, whether entertainment-focused or commerce-focused, need the long game in mind. We are not going to win overnight.